Holy shit! I don't know if I'm gonna look at you this whole time.
Yeah.
Cheers. How are ye? Welcome to our October video coming out of Tad Skosh late. Apparently, you've been gone on the set of The Big Lebowski 2 filming.
That's right.
So I had to wait for you to get back
That's
for
right.
us to make our videos.
Well, after watching, there's so many comments on our videos, and everybody wants to see the hair down. So I just had to give the fans what they want.
Yeah, I really wish that was the case. But man, I was taken aback when I saw you walk through my door today. But welcome and welcome to you all. It's been a minute, but this is kind of like it turned into being a kind of like thought out, but it turned into a Bottle and Bond month. So we've got a very new to the scene, very rare for what they're doing, Bottle and Bond product from starting in 2013. And then the Fox and Pheasant Club got a 10-year-old Bottle and Bond that's kind of been around for quite a while. So Wilderness Trail. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't, maybe you didn't know what it was. It looks, I'd say from a packaging standpoint, it looks kind of just like, okay, maybe. It's not beautiful, it's not overly attractive, but there's also some deciphering to the labels that we realize that you have to kind of do. So one thing about Wilderness Trail, so the two founders started Wilderness Trail in Danville, Kentucky, 2013, and I was unaware until I did the research on them how much they are truly trying to do, grain to bottle kind of, similar to the Peerless, then we went back to that route, but they were very, very adamant they were going to do a startup and make it bottled and bond from scratch. So why is that important? Why is that difficult? If you have a recent member and you weren't there when we first went through the Bottle and Bond rules, do you recall the rules to be called Bottle and Bond?
Of course.
Okay, what are they?
Come on, you're putting me on the spot on the.
Oh, okay.
No,
are you?
But Bottle and Bond. I mean, it's government. It's government regulated. So.
Yep. So there's a couple things to it. So you have to have a U.S. Treasury agent that is a bonded agent that comes and inspects your warehouse for a minimum of 4 years. Correct. So any bottle and bond is at least 4 years old, and it also has to come where the grain and all of the going into the barrel is during the same season. So you can't mix mash bills. It all has to come from the same place, same season into the bottle, and then regulated for 4 years to be bottled and bond.
Well, and I believe that if, like for instance, Costco might do a bottled and bond, but then they have to tell you where the juice comes from, even if they put a Kirkland.
Well, yeah. If it is, they got to, because again, it was federally inspected and watched. There's and it all started back when people started basically bootlegging like versions of liquor as their own. They were stealing labels, selling things. It became very competitive. Trademarks were being issued and fought over. And so the Bottle and Bond became, okay, you know what? If you say you make good juice and I make good juice, we're gonna even square, right? Even Steven, you make yours with your mash, your build. We'll have somebody come and regulate it, make sure you're not cheating. I'll do the same, and then we'll compare apples to apples.
Well, and if you go back and watch our from year one, the larceny video that we did for the society members, when we highlighted larceny, we talked a lot about this because the John Fitzgerald.
Yeah, who he started it.
A bond agent.
And I think when we did the Colonel Taylor's, when we first talked about bottle and bond.
Yeah.
But the reason that's important for this is like, hey, you're going to do a startup for a distillery, make juice, and not be able to sell. You're just going to have to withstand that for at least 4 years without making any money.
You were blown away by that.
Well, that's crazy. I mean,
from a business standpoint,
it's just
it makes no sense.
A huge investment to not have a return on your investment.
Yeah.
But then they're able to release at least, and not only that, but all of their bottle and bond whiskeys are actually 5 to 6 years old. So they even went over the mandate, and these are between 5 and 6 years blended, bottle and bond. And there's a slight difference where the other thing that they did is they kind of birthed another, or brought back another mash bill that hasn't been made since pre-prohibition, which is a sweet mash.
Yeah.
You often see a sour mash, especially with Tennessee whiskeys,
Mm-hmm.
but a sweet mash, difference in the corn, higher in wheat, giving it a much sweeter note. And it is different. I will say that the sweet wheat, these sweet mash weeded Wilderness Trail has a definite different flavor profile.
Yeah.
So that's what you have. If you go and buy Wilderness Trail, the yellow label here is, of course, they're all bottle and bond, but the yellow label is the wheat. They even have like the little wheat in the background. The black label around the band and right here, they have the wheat here, but this is the rye. So this is a high rye bottle and bond. Then they also have silver labels on the two. Those all constitute 6 years. Like there's nothing younger than a 6-year-old. So pretty interesting varietal of a new whiskey using a sweet mash, high wheat, bottled and bond, all for $50-ish bucks.
Yeah. I mean, I first got turned on to it at last year.
Mhm.
Costco had a bunch of it. I think it was a little bit less expensive then.
Yeah.
But with inflation, everything's gone up. But it was around $40-something. And I remember it being really good on ice.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure some of you may agree with once you try it with a cube.
And the rye is significantly different. Like
Yes.
when you taste these side by side, which is cool because you can do side by side bottle and bond 5 to 6 year old whiskeys from the same place with a high rye and a wheat and see the real difference that can make.
Yeah.
So it makes it a very approachable vertical tasting way of taste, even a season, because of the bottle and bond nature. So. So definitely a little bit of alcohol still in mind, but you get the vanilla, you get some oak from the barrel. Again, they use a number 4 char on there. You're getting it 5 to 6 years, so it's going to have a little bit of it, but it's pretty mild. It's not overly oaked, or sometimes that wet oak kind of smell we get. And the thing, I'm getting it a little less now. First time I did it, I get a little bit more of a floral, delicate note to it as opposed to like some of the heavy caramel.
My nose is a little stuffed up,
Yeah.
so I'm not getting the same that we did the other night. But definitely getting some hints of that kind of vanilla, that sweetness.
So then as you get into your taste, and this is why I kind of like this one on the front end, it's the finish for me that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Oak pops right away. It's a little leathery. There's some leather, like tan leather to it. And then you also get, when I feel a little bit of a bitterness is when I say pecan. Or pecan, if that's how you say it, but you're wrong. It's pecan. What do you say?
Pecan.
You say pecan? Okay. How do you say almond? You do not say almond, do you?
No.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's such. I've never heard that before ever until I hit California. Is almond.
Well, it's like washer.
Worcester.
But
That's Midwest. That's my mom. My mom worships clothes.
that's my dentist.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. So
I digress.
pecan. And I almost get the pecan on the nose after I taste it.
Yeah.
And then finish.
It does have a unique kind of finish. You're right.
There's a maltiness to it.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes say a cereal note, but this one's different.
No, it's not a cereal. I mean, it's different. Yeah, for sure.
Again, you got some mild oak coming through, and I rarely put oak in like all three, both the nose, the taste, and the finish.
But I think this has that.
It does.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way though, because I think something can get over oaked and too, old library or grandma's attic.
I think with a cube, the finish is a little different.
Yeah.
I think it adds a different element to the finish. We don't have cubes, but when all of you try it, be interested if you want to leave a comment and let us know what you think.
when I get this one, well, I do have a whiskey that's actually made in Charleston, South Carolina called Revival. That's a sorghum whiskey, like making whiskey like super old way. And it has a similar cereal malty note that's, look, it's not Scotch because it's not peat, but it's also not far off from that, you know, like where it's got a little bit more of this maltiness when you see like a single malt or something like that, where it's got a slight different finish than some of that bigger, sweet, thick bourbon flavors that we're used to. But again, very interesting.
Yeah,
because
it's an interesting whiskey for sure.
from a mash bill standpoint, we've sent nothing out like it. There's very few things on the market like it. So when you start to look for variety and understanding what makes things different and why am I tasting something slightly different, this is a great angle to take for a pretty approachable price.
Absolutely.
On something that, again, on ice or into some different cocktails offers a slightly different note than a lot of other whiskeys we send out.
And I think it's going to be something that over the next few years we're going to see some different offerings. And I think we're going to see some age, and you know, who knows what it'll turn
Currently, what I think 100 and I forget, guys, 138, 168, something like Acre Farm in Kentucky, right? They have 100,000 barrels full of whiskey at Wilderness Trail.
They're in it to win it because, as you said, I mean, this is a company that decided to, you know, not try to make money in the very beginning.
They're 9 years old,
and they put it all in product.
And they've only been
bet on themselves.
Yeah, they've only been selling it for a little over half that time.
And I'm kind of impressed by that because I mean, even though from a business standpoint it seems like what are you doing, but I'm rooting for them.
Hey,
if you're interested,
if you've got the backing,
yeah, absolutely.
Super weird. Like I just got a little bit more of like a cinnamon disc with that same maltiness.
When I finished mine, I got the cinnamon disc as well.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. There's different every time we try it. It's like a little bit different variation of flavor, which is interesting. I think it's the sweet mash bill that's doing that. But
oh, you guys didn't get this one, but now I'm just curious since we just finished that guy. I want to taste a little bit of the rye right after it.
Cool.
Oh. Hey, remember if we wound like 3 years ago, you'd have been like, I don't even want that one. I only like weeded.
That's right. I don't drink rye.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to get some of that same.
Yeah. Although I'd have to say the nose on this is it's got a smoother nose, in my opinion. And well, maybe it's because it cleared my sinuses.
Now, considering this is not a rye, but a high rye bourbon, are you getting the cherry cough syrup?
Yeah.
Like
it's exactly what hit me. Like I was like, that's a cough syrupy kind of cherry.
Yeah. Well, because
I don't know, you know, black licorice.
Yeah. You know how when we go do like pure rye, how the rye can taste like it's got bitters and cocktail and absinthe almost in it. For being just a high rye bourbon, and I do think it's a high, like their mash or their wheat and and the rye, the percentage is extremely high versus the corn, like 38%.
Okay.
So like these are high percentage of the main grain. But yeah, it was crazy. Like coming off of that into this, I instantly tasted like I just swigged some cherry cough syrup.
I did too. But I did get some black licorice.
I know that sounds like in a bad way.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not in a bad way at all. It's interesting.
But it's close enough where it is a little almost like.
Well, the more you talk about it,
yeah, it's a little off-putting. Like
I am getting a lot of cherry. Like now it's like
it's pure coffee.
Now it's like whoa. It's interesting.
It's also just funny what happens when you go from one to the other, what it does to your taste buds and your brain. But yeah, that's an interesting experiment right there.
We recommend it.
Yeah,
try that experiment.
Anywho, so enjoy your sweet mash. Very, very few whiskeys on the market that you can get that with. Enjoy the definite mild oak throughout. But you'll definitely get that little bit of weird malty cereal note on the back end. That I feel like
I feel like I have a cough drop in my mouth right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to finish the video now because I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah. But guys, we'll do just that though.
Yes,
we will go ahead and finish the video. If you enjoy Jason in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, in his little sweater and his hair down.
I mean,
throw
it in the comment.
Rarely does he not have his hair back, so this is just weird for me. I feel like somebody else is here.
It is.
But we are going to be doing the Fox and Pheasant Pour video right now too. But we're going to turn back around and go ahead and film because we're so far behind. We've already got November's poured. They're in boxes. They're going to be going out this week. But we're going to go ahead and do the video, release it as well. So strap in because by video 4, who knows what might happen. So,
and I don't know if my hair will be down or not. We'll see.
Well, your hair will be down.
Keep you guessing,
but he might be out of that sweater. All right, guys.
All right, take care.
Have a great night, and we'll see you again real soon.